I'm Howie Brounstein, and I'm a caffeine addict. Oh, wait. Wrong group. Hi, I'm Howie Brounstein. Hi, I'm Howie Brounstein, and I'm the primary teacher there at Columbines School of Botanical Studies in Eugene, Oregon. Well known for its decades of teaching botany, wildcrafting, herbalism, and important life skills. We're here today with HerbRally so that I can answer some Ask an Herbalist questions.
Do you have any advice on working the business side of herbalism?
Oh, that's a very interesting question, Mr. HerbRally. I guess I do, you know. It's a difficult thing. It's a very difficult thing. And when I was first starting in herbalism, the chances of ever making it financially were virtually nil. Back in the late 70s and early 80s, it wasn't really something you could ever be an herbalist. Very, very radical decision to make. Nowadays, you see some people that seem to be making money on herbalism. The thing is that herbalism is such a varied word. I mean, there's so many things going on here. You could be making products and selling them. You could be running a clinic. You could be teaching. You could be researching. You could be researching you could be researching famous herbalist books. Some people do things like that. You could be proofreading videos that contain herbal things on TV, and herbal references, all that kind of stuff you could be doing. I think the answer here is, one, you're probably going to be self-employed, or you're either going to be self-employed or you're going to be hired by somebody else. If you're hired by somebody else, well, that's different. But if you're self-employed, I've had a lot of beginning herbalists come to me and say, you know, it's really difficult for us as herbalists. We got to work all the time. Hardly ever have any time off to try to make money. And well, that's that way starting a business in general. A lot of it is just plain old starting a business. You're going to have a lot of time and a little bit of money coming back. It's going to be tricky. So that's just standard business advice. But when it comes to herbalism, I would really not put all your eggs in one basket, right? Don't put all the different herbs into one tincture at once. Keep them in different jars at first and mix them as you have to go. In other words, don't just teach if you're teaching. Do a little bit of everything. Yes. Do a little bit of everything so that when the teaching isn't happening, your sales at the festivals are happening. And when that isn't happening, maybe you're giving some online teaching. And when that isn't happening, maybe you got some other herbal gig going on. These are the things that I would consider doing.
Do you have any advice for running a clinical practice?
Yeah. Do I have any advice for running a clinical practice? It's a little tricky here running a clinical practice. It depends on what you want. What kind of clinical practice are you running? Is your object to do more like your free clinic or lots of people coming in for short periods of time? The kind of clinic that I like is more general practice with clients that come in again and again over a period of time, and ideally you're looking at chronic illness or years of the same client coming back. So a lot of that makes a difference of what you're doing. But what I would say is, it's just so difficult. It's a difficult question to answer because it depends on what you're looking for. I don't look at clinic as a way to make a bunch of money. I look at clinic more as a gift to the people that are coming in to see you, and for the people that get to do the clinic. You know, those things. It is a gift for the people around me, more so than a big money maker. Of course, it really depends on what you're doing. If you focus on certain clients, if you focus on certain kinds of people that you see and problems, it's just like with medical doctors who make the decision to go into certain specialties based upon the amount of money that they'll make. If you decide to go into skincare and beauty in a place where people are wealthy, you will probably make a lot more money than if you choose to work with people who are chronically ill and have no money, or people on the street who have no money. So you have these things going on. I don't look at going into clinic as generally the bread and basket money maker, though it is definitely possible. Another aspect about running a clinic that I think is really important, I do believe that you should always have someone in the clinic with you when you're with a client, for your safety and for the safety of the client. And that way there's no questions down the road. Also, I think it's very important that practicing herbalists have interns in the clinic with them. That should probably be the person that's with you, is the intern, someone who's studying to be a practicing herbalist. We don't have enough practicing clinicians to train all the people who want to be trained. So it's important for everybody involved, and for the continuity and the passing on of this clinical knowledge, to always have someone in the clinic with you.
This is Amanda's favorite question. What is your favorite part of being an herbalist, and why? What keeps you learning and growing?
What is my favorite part of being an herbalist, and what keeps me learning and growing? Deep. Well, I'm a teacher, and my favorite, and I'm a teacher and an herbalist. I'm an herbal teacher, among other things, and seeing students understand complex issues, but actually know it and learn it, and it's now simple in their own minds and becomes part of them. Those types of things make me really smile. That's definitely one of the things I really like about herbalism. Whether it's somebody in a clinic, or someone figuring out how to make tinctures, or someone finally understanding how to identify a certain plant. When it's people who are building personal relationships with the plant and the earth through our classes, those types of things just make me smile. I am greatly excited and feel a very warm feeling to see the students travel through the years of study and gain this knowledge. A lot of this has to do with like my personal connection with the earth, and the fact that I'm bringing people outside on a regular basis to show them the perspective that I have on the earth, and give them tools to be able to learn directly from the earth, to observe and learn directly from the earth themselves. And going back to these same places for years and years on end, and watching the changes, both natural and man-made changes on the environment, and watching the populations of plants grow and change, being able to see the interaction of the plants with the animals, and the other things within the environment, along with that plant then being used sometimes for people, and how that affects the people around me in a positive way. Those types of things is what really keeps me going year after year, is the connection that I feel when I'm teaching, especially out in nature. I feel like, some people, it's difficult in today's world. We didn't come in with an instruction booklet as to what we're supposed to do. And we have so many choices, sometimes it's overwhelming. And you're like, you just don't know, sometimes you just don't know what to do. You don't know, should I move to Colorado? Should I move to Florida? Should I take this job? Should I take this class? Maybe I shouldn't. Maybe I should. It just gets tricky. Should I swipe up to the next video, or should I continue listening? These are questions that just sometimes overwhelm us to the point of making us sick, to the point where we can't answer questions. You often are on a trail, you're on a path in life, and you say, is this where I'm supposed to be? Should I have made a different choice? What are the choices in front of me, and how can I choose those? But when I'm out teaching in the woods, there's no question that I'm supposed to be in that spot, that's the spot that I'm supposed to be in the world. That's my role as a human on earth today. And that kind of feeling that I get when I teach is what keeps me coming back. The long winter starting to get you down, waiting for spring and flowers and plants, and getting outside in the sunlight. Don't worry, HerbRally now has for you the new HerbRally bobbleheads of both Amanda and Mason that bobble back and forth and will make you smile and bring sunshine in your life. Order now, order now.
How long did you study plant medicine before feeling qualified to call yourself an herbalist?
Oh man, well, I think, with the 40th year that I'm teaching this class, it's coming up in not this year, but next 2024. I think I'll be qualified then. That's a wrap. It'll be 40 years and 2 more years. I'll be qualified then, I think. Back in the day when people were, starting the American Herbalist Guild and the renaissance of herbalism in certain groups of people in the United States, the people who were herbalists at the time, the books that were written and the knowledge that was there is so much less than what a lot of first-year herb students have. Things are different. I mean, it used to be that, what's qualified? When do you call yourself an herbalist? It's such a hard thing. I mean, certificate? Sure, you get a certificate from that one-day class. That doesn't mean anything. It means you took that one-day class. When are you an herbalist? I think that you're an herbalist when the people in your community come to you and call you an herbalist. That's when you're qualified. When the people come to you. And actually what it is, you see people taking years of study as an herbalist, and no one ever comes to them and asks them what to do when they have an upset stomach. And you see that same thing with even medical doctors. Some you get out of naturopathic school and then you don't have clients come and see you. How does that work? You got to learn ways of bringing clients in. It's the same thing with herbalism. But some people, it doesn't make a difference. The community is going to come to you and ask you health questions no matter what, because that's who you are. That makes you an herbalist. I mean, if you use herbs, that makes you an herbalist. If you use crystals, then you're not an herbalist. Or if you use, other things. There's many modalities, but herbalists like to use herbs. I think it's very interesting because people will say, well, you really need to take a lot of schooling. You really need to learn constituents. You really need to learn, all these protocols. You need to be able to, know all these diseases and drug interactions. And it really comes down to what level of herbalism are you practicing. You need to know when to refer on. You need to know what your limits are. But some people can help friends and family and community for things like cramps and earaches and colds and flus and upset stomachs and owies and those types of things using gentle herbs and be just fine, and they're not going to work, hand in hand with an oncologist and pancreatic cancer. Well, that's fine. There still can be an herbalist and they can greatly help their community. On the other hand, there are other herbalists that will work, hand in hand with specialist medical doctors, and those people would need to know more. So there's everywhere in between. So when do the people come and tell you you're an herbalist? That's when you're an herbalist. That's a really insightful question, Amanda. I'm glad you asked that. The thing is, a lot of times one of the greatest obstacles to us learning the material thoroughly is our own belief that we understand it. It's our own belief that we took that class and now we know that, so we don't need to take that class anymore. I don't want to go back into a first-year class to some other teacher because I already learned that. But the reality of learning is that repetition is the key to mastery. And for example, bitters. I go over bitters in my first-year class and we discuss it, but then I'll ask the group, give me a specific indication for a bitter. What would someone say when they came up to you and they needed a bitter? What would they say? They're not going to say, I think I need a little bit more squirt of my pancreatic juice, alkaline juice. That's what's bothering me. My pancreas isn't squirting enough alkaline juice. No, they don't ask that. They say, I'm feeling a little bloated. So people will answer this, and we'll go around the room and ask the students. But I don't stop there. I go and ask the students. It starts to become every class. I'm asking the people to go over bitters, and it can be pretty quick. But what we find is that after going over it, 10, 15 times, people start to get a much deeper understanding, and some questions that they didn't even know they had, or some ideas that were slightly off become more and more defined. And I take that away from the students and look at that from my perspective. And here I am going on to my 39th year of teaching bitters, and I still learn more about bitters every single year. Every single year, I still learn more. So if I were to come back after a couple of years and say, wow, I know bitters, I don't need to know anymore, or I got this, that's an obstacle to truly understanding the depth of knowledge that's attainable. Little chocolate donuts give me the energy that I need in the morning to get up and go.
What does the herbalism industry need most right now to evolve positively besides more herbalists?
I think the key for the herbal industry, along with a key to basic survival on Earth, is cooperation and understanding and meeting people where they are. I think that the greatest problem, the greatest threat to herbalism does not come from without. It comes from within. It comes from people attacking each other and working against people. And especially in herbalism, this should be even easier. As herbalists, we know that so many herbalists have different perspectives on herbalism. You have people who are, some people who got a kapha, they have to go to the Ayurvedic specialist. Some people, excuse me, that's a joke. On the other hand, we have traditional Chinese medicine, we have Western herbalism, which even is split up into so many different aspects. And people using homeopathic medicine, or people using energetic medicine with herbs. There's so many different aspects. And you cannot look at somebody else's method and say it's not good. You can say, oh, I look at someone else's method and it's different than mine. What I often say is, that's not the model that I use, so I can't really answer to that. I can say I don't know about it, or I don't even believe in it, but it's not my model. So it's someone else's model, and someone else may be helped by it. So yeah, taking that information and applying it in general to herbalists around that's the danger to the herbal community comes from within, from people arguing with each other about who is the herbalist.
What do you do when you see someone you don't know well dealing with an issue that you're pretty sure you could help with, but they haven't asked for your help?
Mm-hmm. I had a friend that came to visit me, an elder herbalist with many, many years of experience by the name of Christopher Headley. Christopher Headley, he's on our team. Look him up. He's got some interesting viewpoints, a very nice man. And he taught me something that stuck with me, and that is, you never give unasked for advice. He was telling me some story about, being on a bus in London, and this woman was like, oh, you're an herbalist, and telling her everything about what was wrong with her, and her heart issues, and her time with the doctor. And he said to me, but I couldn't give her any advice because she didn't ask me for it. She just wanted me to listen. And I've come to the conclusion in my own personal experience that that's really important. I think that's really, really important. I don't think that giving unasked for advice is really helpful. What's it about? You might think that by giving unasked for advice, you might be helping this person. The reality is that unasked for advice generally isn't taken. And generally, there's very little follow-up on that, follow-through. And so you're pretty much wasting your time. So why are you doing it? You're doing it for you, to make yourself feel better because you know you can help this person. When I'm in a clinic, especially if I'm trying to teach the person how to change their lifestyles in ways that lets them be healthy, to give them the tools that they need to be healthy. They're going to want to change some things that they do and give them the keys to their body, give them the instruction manual as to how to stay healthy. What do they need to eat? What herbs do they need to take? How much do they need to sleep? These kinds of things. People aren't going to change their lives unless they want to. And if they can't fill out an intake form, if they can't come in and see you on their own volition, you're going to have a really low compliance. And you see that in the clinic. There's a person who calls up and says, "Did my mother send you that intake form yet?" And I'm like, no. He says, "Well, my mother needs to come and see you, and I told her she has to come and see you. And if you don't get an intake form, you call her up. Here's the number. Tell her daughter said she had to come." And of course, the woman has, like, fibromyalgia and diabetes. That person is not going to, that mother is not going to change their life if they can't fill out an intake form and make the appointment on their own. And they're going to need to change their life and change their habits if they want to work with those types of chronic illnesses. So I'm pretty firm about that. If you see somebody that you think you can help, you should not give unasked for advice. There is no lack of sick people. There's so many sick people that need your advice and help, and that they should be coming to you. If that's not the case, then you need to work on your relationship with the community. Thanks for joining me here. And thank you to HerbRally for asking me these great questions. And if you want to find me, you can find me at www.botanicalstudies.net. Our website is up and running with lots of cool videos. But we can also go to YouTube at the Columbines School of Botanical Studies, where we have many videos. Be sure to like and subscribe. Some of you might want to find us on Facebook at the Columbines School of Botanical Studies page. And of course, some of you just want to stay on Instagram, where you'll find us at the Columbine School of BS. That's Botanical Studies. I can't answer that question right now. I got a cat on my lap. Sorry, Mason, not right now. I got a cat on my lap. Can't go to class today. I got a cat on my lap. Got a cat on my lap.